There's a word that's banned in 17 languages across the Galactic Union. Not a curse, not a slur, not a call to violence, just a word. A simple, human word that caused 3 diplomatic incidents, 2 philosophical crises, and 1 species-wide existential breakdown. Rule 350 of the Galactic Communications Standards. Humans are prohibited from using departure terminology in the presence of non-human entities. The human concept of goodbye has demonstrated cascading psychological effects across multiple species. Human leave-taking rituals are classified as cognitive hazards. Violations will result in mandatory isolation and memetic decontamination of all affected parties. Let me be crystal clear about what this means. The galaxy banned humans from saying goodbye, not because of what the word means, but because of what it does to species who've never truly had to leave anyone behind. Today, you're going to learn about the departure incident of 2359, the day a human said goodbye to an alien, and that alien's entire civilization had to be quarantined. Because what humans understand about endings, about farewells, about the weight of, "This might be the last time I see you," the galaxy wasn't ready for it. And honestly, I don't think they ever will be. Let me introduce you to Dr. Marcus Webb, xenolinguistics specialist, 37 years old. Brilliant, empathetic, the kind of guy who could make you feel understood, even across species barriers. He'd been assigned to the Zithara, this incredibly advanced species from the Kepler sector. They're beings of pure energy, existing in crystalline matrices, immortal unless their matrices are destroyed. They've existed for 9 million years. They don't have a word for goodbye. Think about that. 9 million years of civilization, and they never needed a word for permanent departure. Because they don't have permanent departures. When a Zithara leaves, they're always accessible through quantum-entangled communication, always reachable, always able to return. Distance doesn't separate them. Time doesn't divide them. They're never really gone. Marcus spent 2 years with the Zithara, teaching them about human culture, learning about theirs. He formed a deep friendship with one of them, resonance of starlight through crystal, or as Marcus called her, Res. They'd spend hours in the observation deck, Marcus drinking coffee, Res pulsing with soft blue light, talking about everything: philosophy, music, the nature of existence, stupid jokes that didn't translate but made them both laugh anyway. And then Marcus's assignment ended. He had to return to Earth. The Zithara don't have farewell ceremonies. When one of them leaves, they just leave. They might say, "I'm departing now," or transferring to another location. But there's no emotional weight to it, no finality, because they can always reconnect. But Marcus was human, and humans don't leave like that. The day before his departure, Marcus asked Res to meet him at the observation deck one last time. She arrived, her crystalline matrix humming with curiosity. "You wished to speak before your departure?" Marcus nodded. He'd been dreading this for weeks. "I wanted to say goodbye." Res processed this. The translation matrix rendered it as departure acknowledgement. Neutral, clinical. But Marcus said it again, slower. "Goodbye, Res." And this time, he meant it with all the weight that humans carry in that word. See, the translation wasn't just linguistic. It was empathic. The Zithara communicate partially through emotional resonance. When Marcus said goodbye, with that particular human weight, with the knowledge that he might never see her again, that this moment was ending and could never be reclaimed, that distance and time and the vastness of space might mean this was their last conversation. Res felt all of it, every single ounce Her crystalline matrix flickered. "What is this sensation?" she asked. "What sensation?" "This emptiness. This awareness that when you leave, something will be absent. Not just your physical presence, but the possibility of this." She gestured to the observation deck, to the space between them. "Of this specific moment, this specific connection. It will be gone?" Marcus swallowed hard. "Yeah, that's what goodbye means." Res's light dimmed. "But we can still communicate. Quantum channels, holographic projection, data exchange." "It's not the same." "Why not?" "Because I won't be able to sit here with you. I won't see that thing you do when you're thinking hard, and your light pulses in patterns. I won't hear you laugh. Yeah, I know you don't technically laugh, but that frequency thing you do when something's funny. I won't have this. But you'll have the memory of it." "Memories fade, Res. They're not the same as living it." "Then we are truly ending? This version of us?" "Yeah." "I don't have a word for this feeling," Res said quietly. "We call it grief," Marcus replied, "even when nobody's died, even when it's just goodbye." Within 6 hours, 17 Zithara had come to Marcus asking about the goodbye sensation. Res had shared the emotional resonance across their quantum network, not intentionally, just as a curiosity. "The human carries this when he departs. What is it?" And other Zithara wanted to understand. Marcus tried to explain. "It's what happens when you care about someone, and you have to leave them. It's knowing that this moment, this connection, this specific configuration of us, it's ending." "But why does it cause pain?" a Zithara elder asked. "Because the ending matters. Because what we had was real, and losing it, even temporarily, hurts. You choose to feel pain about something that hasn't ended yet. It's not a choice. It's just what happens when you love things that can end." The Zithara fell silent, because they'd never loved anything that could end. Their relationships don't conclude. They just exist at different intensities across time. No goodbyes, no final conversations, no last time I saw them. Just continuity. By the end of that day, 47 Zithara had experienced what they started calling the departure sensation. By day 2, 312. By day 4, the entire diplomatic station, over 6,000 Zithara, were all infected with this new awareness. And they were breaking. One Zithara refused to leave their post because, "If I depart, this specific experience ends." Another started compulsively recording every interaction because, "I need to preserve these moments before they become only memories." A third had what humans would call a panic attack, their crystalline matrix fracturing slightly, because they'd realized, "Everything I experience is already becoming the past. Even this moment, even now, even..." The Galactic Medical Council was called in. "What did you do to them?" they demanded of Marcus. "I said goodbye." "You did more than that. You infected them with temporal anxiety, linear thinking, awareness of endings. That's not an infection. That's just reality." "Not for them. The Zithara exist in a perpetual now. They don't experience endings the way you do. But you taught them to see time like humans see it, as a series of unique, unrepeatable moments that end." Marcus stared at them. "You're saying they didn't know that before?" "No. They existed. They didn't understand existence as something that happens and then stops happening. But that's what existence is. For you." The council tried to contain it. They isolated the affected Zithara, attempted to decontaminate them from the goodbye concept. It didn't work, because once you understand that moments end, You can't ununderstand it. Once you know that this is the last time is possible, every moment carries that weight. Once you've felt goodbye, every hello contains its shadow. Rez came to Marcus one final time before he left. "I've been experiencing something," she said. "When I interact with other Zitharan now, I find myself thinking, this conversation will end, this moment will become past, this specific interaction will never happen exactly like this again." "Yeah," Marcus said quietly, "that's human consciousness. It's unbearable. Sometimes. How do you function like this, knowing everything is temporary?" Marcus smiled sadly. "We don't function despite it. We function because of it. I don't understand. Rez, if I knew I'd see you every day forever, would tonight matter as much? If I could have this exact conversation any time I wanted for eternity, would I pay attention to it the same way?" Her light flickered. "Processing. You're saying the ending is what creates the meaning. The ending is what makes it real. If this moment lasted forever, it wouldn't be a moment. It would just be existence. But because it ends, because tomorrow I'll be on Earth and you'll be here, because we only get tonight, tonight matters more than forever would." "Exactly." Rez's crystalline matrix pulsed with colors Marcus had never seen before. "This is why you have that word, goodbye. Not because you're acknowledging departure, but because you're acknowledging that what existed between us mattered, that it was unique, that losing it is worth grieving, even though we both continue existing." "Yeah, I hate it." Marcus laughed through the tears he was trying to hide. "Me too. But I understand now why humans create art, why you write stories and compose music and build monuments. You're trying to make moments last because you know they won't. We're trying to prove it mattered, even after it ends." "Goodbye, Marcus." She said it in English, not translated, the actual human word, and she meant it with the full weight of what it carried. Marcus broke. Within 2 weeks, the goodbye contagion had spread to 7 other species at the diplomatic station. The Kverth, who existed in perpetual collective consciousness, started experiencing individuation anxiety, the fear that their personal experiences would end. The Luminari, who could transfer their consciousness between bodies, suddenly realized that each body provided unique experiences that would be lost when they transferred. The Vex, a hive mind species, had drones requesting final conversations before reassimilation, because this specific consciousness configuration will cease. The galaxy was experiencing its first collective existential crisis, because humans had introduced them to something they'd engineered out of their civilizations millions of years ago: the awareness that experiences end. The Galactic Philosophical Institute convened emergency sessions. They brought in their greatest minds to answer one question: how do humans live with this knowledge? They studied human literature, found it obsessed with endings, farewells, last words, final moments. They analyzed human relationships, found that we structure our entire emotional lives around awareness of potential loss. They examined human achievements, discovered we race against time because we know we're running out. And then they found something that shattered their understanding even further. Humans don't just accept that things end. We mark the endings. We create goodbye rituals, farewell parties, last visits, final conversations. We celebrate endings. Why? The Institute demanded of Ambassador Chen, who'd been brought in to explain human psychology. Because endings are part of the story, she said. A book without a final chapter isn't finished. It's just abandoned. We say goodbye because it's the last line of that particular story. And if we don't acknowledge it, if we don't honor it, then what came before doesn't feel complete. But completion implies finality. Finality implies death. Everything dies. Jobs end. Relationships change. Moments pass. People leave. Even if you're immortal, even if you live forever, individual experiences still end. We're just honest about it. You've weaponized mortality, the Institute representative said. We've weaponized meaning, Chen corrected. You wanted to know how we live with this knowledge. We give it poetry. We give it music. We give it weight and significance and beauty. We make endings matter, because if they don't matter, then nothing that came before matters either. The Institute fell silent, because they'd just realized something terrifying. If endings create meaning, and humans had introduced the galaxy to endings, then humans had fundamentally altered how billions of beings would experience existence going forward. Every relationship would now carry the shadow of goodbye. Every moment would be precious because it was temporary. Every experience would matter because it could be the last. Humans hadn't just taught them a word. We'd taught them how to grieve while still alive. The Galactic Council created Rule 350 6 months after Marcus Webb left the diplomatic station. Humans are forbidden from saying goodbye to non-human entities. Our leave-taking rituals are classified as mimetic hazards. Our understanding of endings is too dangerous to share. The official report stated, human awareness of temporal finality creates artificial scarcity of experience, leading to irrational emotional attachments to temporary configurations. This awareness is highly contagious and fundamentally incompatible with post-scarcity civilizations. Translation: humans make other species care about things because those things can end. And caring hurts. But here's what they didn't include in the report. Rez kept Marcus's coffee mug. Even though she doesn't drink coffee, even though it's just a ceramic cup with a chip in the rim, she kept it because it was his. And he's not there anymore, and that absence means something. The Kaveth started creating individual memory archives. So when this version of me ends, something remains. The Luminari stopped transferring bodies so frequently. Because this body has unique experiences I don't want to lose. The Vex had drones writing poetry before reassimilation. So this specific consciousness is remembered. Across the galaxy, species that had defeated death were learning to mourn life. Not because anything was dying, but because they'd learned that experiences are unique, that moments pass, that this becomes was, and never comes back. They'd learned goodbye. And they hated it, and they couldn't stop doing it. The Zithara civilization underwent what historians now call the temporal awakening. They started creating farewell ceremonies. Not for death, they still don't die, but for endings, job completions, location transfers, relationship transitions. They started saying goodbye, and every time they did, they meant it with the full weight that Marcus had taught Rez. This mattered. This was unique. Losing this is worth acknowledging. Other species followed. Slowly, reluctantly. But inevitably. Because once you understand that moments end, you can't pretend they last forever. And once you know things can end, you start noticing what you'd miss. And once you start noticing what you'd miss, you start caring about it differently. You start caring about it more. That's what terrified the Council. Not that humans understand endings, that humans understand endings make things matter more. But let me tell you the part that keeps me awake. The part the Council was right about. Marcus Webb died 7 years after the departure incident. Cancer. He was 44. Rez attended his funeral via hologram, the only alien at a human ceremony. She stood, or hovered technically, at the back, while Marcus's family said goodbye, while his friends shared stories, while his daughter cried and said, "I'm not ready to say goodbye yet." And after everyone left, Rez stayed. She stayed at his grave for 6 hours. A human asked her why. "You're immortal. You'll exist long after every human is gone. Why does this ending matter so much?" Rez said, "Because he taught me that things matter, because they end. And now I have to carry that lesson for 9 million years, while he gets to rest after 44. He gave me the burden of meaning, and I can't give it back." That's what the Council understood that we don't. We think we're teaching other species to value moments, to appreciate experiences, to understand meaning. But what we're actually doing is cursing immortal beings with grief. Because once you care about things that end, and you yourself never end, you just accumulate losses forever. Humans live, 80 years? We love, we lose, we grieve, and then we die. We don't have to carry our goodbyes for eternity. But Rez does. Every Zithara who learned goodbye from Marcus, they'll carry it for millions of years. Every luminary who understood that experiences are unique, they'll mourn every transition forever. Every species we've taught the weight of endings, they'll carry that weight longer than our civilization will exist. We think Rule 350 is about protecting other species from our philosophy. But maybe it's about protecting them from a curse disguised as enlightenment. Because caring about things that end when you yourself never end. That's not wisdom, that's eternal torture. And we gave it to them wrapped in poetry and called it meaning. Before Marcus died, he left a message for Rez, told his family to send it after his funeral. It was 4 minutes long. I'm going to read you the last minute. Rez, I know you're probably thinking I cursed you, that I taught you something that's going to hurt for longer than humans will exist as a species. And you're right, I did. But here's the thing. You were existing for 9 million years before I met you, and you were going to exist for billions more after. And all of it was just existence, perpetual, unchanging, eternal. But for 2 years, you had moments that mattered. You had conversations that were unique. You had a friendship that was specific and irreplaceable and temporary. For 2 years out of 9 million, you were alive instead of just existing. Was it worth it? I don't know. I'm human. We think any amount of meaning is worth any amount of pain. But you're immortal. Maybe for you, peace is better than meaning. I just want you to know, even if you regret learning goodbye, even if carrying this hurts for longer than my species will remember my name, I don't regret teaching you. Because you mattered to me, and now you know that mattering is possible. Goodbye, Rez. I'll miss you, and I'm sorry that you'll miss me longer. The recording ends. Rez still has it, plays it sometimes. She's carried Marcus's goodbye for 7 years now. She'll carry it for 9 million more. And every time someone asks her if it was worth it, learning goodbye, understanding endings, experiencing temporal awareness, she says yes. Because for 2 years, she didn't just exist, she lived. And living, apparently, means knowing how to say goodbye. Rule 350 says humans can't say goodbye to aliens because the word is too dangerous. But the truth is, we can't not say it. Because goodbye isn't just a word. It's how we tell someone, this mattered, you mattered. What we had was real, and losing it is worth acknowledging. It's how we turn endings into meaning instead of just loss. It's how we prove we were paying attention. So the next time you have to say goodbye to someone, actually say it. Don't just wave. Don't just leave. Don't just let the moment pass unmarked. Say goodbye like you mean it. Like this specific moment with this specific person is unique and will never happen exactly like this again. Because it won't. And that's what makes it matter. The galaxy thinks that's dangerous. I think it's the most human thing we do. If someone taught you how to say goodbye properly, how to mean it, how to carry it, tag them. Thank them. If you're missing someone right now, someone you said goodbye to, leave their name in the comments. Let's prove that goodbyes matter. Subscribe for more stories about why human emotions terrify the universe. And remember, you're going to say goodbye to everyone you love eventually. Make sure they know you meant it.